Hey guys, your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content we'll be covering today will be in the sport of football inside the college football world. In today's bonus segment, I'll be sharing my personal favorite Heisman Trophy winners and my favorite college football Heisman Trophy seasons in college football history. So, I have 4 players, in my opinion, who stood the test of time in college football history that have the most impressive Heisman years in college football history. So these 4 respective players are on my personal favorite list of most incredible, most iconic Heisman years of college football history. Starting off with player number 1 is Joe Burrow. His time he spent with LSU as the LSU Tigers quarterback his senior year in college football. That year that Joe Burrow had in 2019 when LSU was spectacular, it was special. One of the greatest college quarterback seasons in college football history when he won the Heisman Award in 2019. He helped LSU go 15-0, won the national title that year as well. Joe Burrow's stats, they were NCAA video game number stats. I mean, he had over 5,000 passing yards, 60 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns. And that season basically helped him become the first overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft when the Cincinnati Bengals decided to draft him. But when you think about that LSU Tigers team from 2019 with Ed Orgeron as the head coach and Joe Burrow at the helm with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase at wide receiver, they had Patrick Queen at linebacker, Clyde Edwards at running back, Devin Stingley at the cornerback position. That LSU team stands the test of time as one of the greatest college football teams in college football history. And I don't think anybody's topped it off of being as dominant as what the 2019 LSU Tigers were just 4 or 5 seasons ago. But that season that Joe Burrow had as a Heisman winner is definitely one of my favorite Heisman Trophy winner years in college football history. So player number 2 on my list is the great Charles Woodson. Now, Charles Woodson paved the way of what it's like to be a dominant two-way player in college football. Paved the way for a player like Travis Hunter, who just won his first Heisman Award last week in college football. He paved the way of what it was like to be an effective two-way player. And what Charles Woodson did at his time with Michigan, being a dominant player, Charles Woodson was the first ever defensive player to ever win the Heisman Award in college football history. And he outbeat Peyton Manning that had an incredible stellar year in college football in 1997. So you know you had to do something spectacular if you were Charles Woodson. But Charles Woodson was a lockdown cornerback. He had 7 interceptions, 9 pass breakups, 43 tackles, and he was also an effective punt returner on special teams. And also had 2 catching touchdowns. He was a special dynamic player. Still stands the test of time for his special season. One of the greatest Heisman Trophy winners in college football history. Now, player number 3 on my list is Tim Tebow. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. There's a thing in sports where you're supposed to like your home team and you're supposed to root for the team that's available to you. Well, my philosophy with sports, players get me to like teams. And when I was watching college football, when I started as a 3rd grader, 4th grader, as a young man loving sports, this guy right here, Tim Tebow, really helped me become a Florida Gators fan. And Tim Tebow, he had the influence of being what it's like, being the guy that have what it's like to show what it's like to be a great dual threat quarterback. And he was an amazing dual threat quarterback in his time with the Florida Gators. I mean, his year when he won the Heisman Award, he had over 3,000 passing yards with 29 passing touchdowns, nearly 800 rushing yards as a quarterback with 22 rushing touchdowns. He was dominant, making plays with his arm, being a left-handed thrower, dominant as a running dual threat quarterback with making plays with his legs. And as a starter, I mean, he's helped the Gators win 2 titles in his years with the Florida Gators, but he won one where he can be remembered as when he won it as a starter with the Gators in 2008. And his play as a dual threat quarterback, with him winning the Heisman in 2007 and then going on to win the Heisman in 2008, helped him solidify himself as one of the greatest college football quarterbacks in college football history, because his name is cemented in legacy forever. Not only is one of the greatest Florida Gators in college football history, but he also was inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame last year in 2023. So even though it didn't play out well for his NFL career, Tim Tebow will always be immortalized as an all-time great in college football. Now, next player is Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson went on to become the youngest Heisman Trophy winner in college football history at Louisville, and he did it at 19 years old. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a lot of 19-year-olds in the United States are possibly getting out of high school, possibly getting their driver's license, possibly trying to figure out what they want to do in life. But Lamar Jackson, at 19 years old, at his time with Louisville, became the youngest Heisman Trophy winner at 19 years of age. And that really put Lamar Jackson on the map as the player, the dynamic player that he is in college football and the NFL forever. And Lamar Jackson in college was an unstoppable athlete. I mean, he was like a human joystick out there, a video game character that you could make an NCAA 25 if possible. But Lamar Jackson had over 3,000 passing yards, 30 passing touchdowns, had over 1,500 rushing yards, 21 rushing touchdowns, an incredible dynamic dual threat quarterback who can make plays with his arm, make plays running the ball, and definitely a dynamic player in open space. But I remember heading into the 2018 NFL draft, a lot of scouts wanted Lamar Jackson to try out at different positions, work out in different positions, like a running back or wide receiver. Lamar Jackson went out and still proved why he could play at the quarterback at the next level. And he turned out to be a two-time MVP winner and had one of the best winning percentages in NFL regular season history in his time with the Baltimore Ravens. So definitely Lamar Jackson, it will always be remembered as one of the greatest Heisman Trophy Award winners in college football history. I know I said 4 for you guys, but I'm going to throw in 5 and an honorable mention because this guy deserves his credit as well as one of my favorite Heisman Award winners in college football history. That being Barry Sanders, when he was a running back with Oklahoma State. His time with Oklahoma State was phenomenal, incredible, and it set him up to pave the way as the greatest running back in NFL history. Yes, there's some all-time greats like Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, Eric Dickerson, but the greatest running back of all time in NFL history is Barry Sanders. And it started with the work that he did at Oklahoma State. His Heisman year, he had over 2,000 rushing yards, 37 touchdowns, still stands the test of time as the record for the most FBS touchdowns scored in a college football season. And he was a phenomenal player, man. I mean, looking back at it, and he was perfect with his jump cuts. He was perfect at making magic in open space, dynamic as a pass catcher. Barry Sanders could do it all, and it helped him become one of the greatest players in NFL history with his time with the Detroit Lions in the 90s. So those 4 to 5 players, I will have to say, are my favorite personal Heisman Trophy winners in college football history, and they changed the landscape of college football forever. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.